Analyst happens to be my guru from IIT Kanpur, Professor Sudhir Jain, and delegates. Before coming to address this session, I was thinking I'll have to just make a presentation on the technology aspects of education and the use of it in the government of Gujarat. But after hearing Professor Agrawal and Professor Sudhir Jain, probably I may have to bit modify, and some of the things which are not in the presentation I'll have to go on those aspects also. Friends, Professor Agrawal talked about how we are lagging behind in the world era as far as our ranking in higher education and more specifically in innovation is concerned. Professor Sudhir Jain, he dwelt partially on the reasons why that is the case, particularly the investment in it and the commercialization of the higher education. He also talked about the charitable aspect and non-commercial version of the education which was practiced earlier. I fully agree with Professor Sudhir Jain, but with a caveat. We have in India a large rural population who had no access to education. While I have absolutely no problem with leaving the education for and by the persons who are interested in it, but a responsible government, it needs to ensure that all its citizens, all its children, they at least get a minimum level of education. And now the Parliament has enacted the Right to Education Act also. So it becomes our statutory responsibility that each and everyone in every nook and corner of the country that is covered as far as the elementary education is concerned. Higher education, of course, it probably requires a bit of both, lot of investment from the government side and from society, including the industry. But it also probably requires a bit of the commercial aspect. You can't leave the higher education totally on the government funding, probably which has been the case in India. The result has been that lot of persons who have absolutely no interest in higher education but who have nothing else to do, they get into the higher education, pass their time and come out as unemployable graduates. Lot of money go wasted based on them, the government money is wasted on them, and in the process the elementary education aspect is neglected. So some sort of commercialization where the students need to pay the fee. It may not cover the total cost of the education, but at least part of it which need to be funded and need to be contributed by the students themselves. Having said that, now I will come to the our main aspect, the main thing with the presentation which I was going to make. I will present the e-governance roadmap which for the education department of government of Gujarat. I will be covering not only the education, the elementary education, but all the sectors, secondary, higher and technical education. As far as our e-governance and education is concerned, we had a vision. This was prepared about 3-4 years back, so I had to redo it. All examinations right from SSC onwards, we thought they should be taken online. In some of the sectors, particularly the engineering admissions, engineering entrance examination, this is already started. Students' feedback to the parents should be given on monthly basis online. parents, or for that matter anybody, can get any this, they have the access to the performance record of their children, and more particularly anybody can get any information about the educational institutes available in any particular area. That's what we are going to develop, a sort of education portal. The second point on this slide is more important. We have a dream where we almost all our 4 lakh classroom, right from primary to the college level, they are equipped with all necessary technological hardware and software, so that the teaching learning processes, they can be improved, and it also generates the interest in the students, because most of our students coming into government, I am talking about the primary education and also the secondary education, they are from a background whereby the gadgets themselves can be attraction for them to coming to the school, apart from greatly helping them in learning the things which they are supposed to learn. The e-governance in education is basically there are 4 main parts of the education. One is the computer education itself, computer literacy we call it. Second is e-learning, this centralized teaching. This is when we are not having the adequate number of teachers, or the teachers are not trained properly, they are not knowing their subject properly. For that we have a distant education learning program. There is centralized teaching through our BISEG and multimedia teaching. An online transaction by students, teacher and parents, employees. This is what is the education portals, where everything is available online. And finally, the better management of the schools and colleges and universities through the use of IT. This just a bit of e-learning labs, computer labs, which we have provided in our primary and secondary schools. We have covered so far about 20,000 schools are having a computer labs. These are all upper primary schools we have been able to cover. This is out of about 34,000 government schools which we have. At secondary level, out of about 8,000 schools, we have been able to cover about 6,000 schools. We, along with the deploying the hardware and providing the software, we have also deployed a dedicated person at the school level who can help our teachers make use of these computers for e-learning, that is computer aided learning. They will be there for hand-holding the teachers and training the teachers. We are not providing the computer teachers to the school, but we are providing the trainers to the teacher at the school, who will be there for about a year or so, and ensure that the teachers, they are fully competent and skilled enough after the end of this 1 year to handle the computers for the teaching learning processes. Here are some of the slides for computer aided learning in the primary schools. We have a institute called Bhaskacharya Institute of Space Technology. We are making use of it for the purpose of distance education, whereby the live classes, they are held at BISEG and they are telecast all over the state in different sectors: primary, secondary, higher and technical. Primary, there Gujarat has had a problem of good science, math teachers as well as English teachers. So a stopgap arrangement, we thought that we will be making the best teachers of the state available to the all students of the upper primary level all over the state. That is where this idea of broadcasting the classes from Gandhinagar came to us, and then we are making use of it. We make about 9 hours per week in primary sector. That is, those classes are broadcast. This is dedicated channel by through the use of EduSet. This is not to substitute the teachers at the school, but this is mainly for those schools where the teachers are not competent enough at the school level. Some of the projects, e-governance project and particularly e-education project, which we have undertaken in the government and we have completed it, is we have the primary teachers colleges, their admissions, we do the admission online. For last 2 years we are recruiting our primary teachers. This is centralized online recruitment, and about 10 to 12,000 teachers they are recruited in a span of about one month or so. The transparency of the process ensures that we don't get any complaints, there are no court cases, and this process is completed without hassles. We are also using this technology, particularly the BISEG, for training our teachers. In primary sector we have about 2 lakh teachers spread all over the state and in very remote areas. Earlier we were using a cascade model of training them, whereby the key resource person will train the master trainers, master trainer will train the trainers, trainers will in turn, then they will teach they will train the teachers. But as you increase more number of layers in between, the effectiveness of the training that is lost. So we hit upon an idea of doing a centralized training. That is, again, the training, the best of the trainers, our key resource persons, they train the teachers through use of this technology through BISEG, and it's a on-off model. For about 45 minutes the teachers are trained through the use of this technology. They receive the lectures from the centralized studio, and next 45 minutes the trainers available at the local level, they clarify their points, whatever the doubts are there, and whatever the questions which we receive, those are also clarified. We have started a program in primary education, that is Gunotsava. This is one of the program for last 3 years which we have undertaken. You must be wondering why I have taken it in the e-governance. We are covering about 34,000 schools, and this is the quality improvement program involving all the government, most of the government functionaries, about 3,000 officers. They are involved for 3 days in it. Quite a few of you might have heard about this program. What we are doing is, in 2-3 days we cannot improve the quality of the teaching in the primary schools. So what we have undertaken is, we are carrying out the snap tests of the students by going to the school. The officers spend the whole day there, test the students, then they upload the data about the school, about each and every class, each and every subject. The test results are uploaded on the website, and then based on that every year we give the grade to the teachers and the school. This is a way for telling them that government is serious about the quality aspect of it, of the education, as well as we want to enforce the accountability as far as the teachers are concerned. I must say that in a year we have been able to get improvement of about 15%. Why this I have put it in the e-governance part is because we are making use of the technology in a much bigger way in it. Somehow I have not been able to, because of the paucity of the time, I have not been able to put the technological aspect of this program into it. But every year every teacher is tracked, his performance, he is given the performance for his, not only last year but before the last 3-4 years performance is made available to him, whether he is improving or not, whether he is deteriorating. And at the same time we involve the community also. The community should also know how their school is performing, and they should involve themselves in the functioning of the school. They should keep a watch over the teaching community over there if they are not coming, because in primary sector the absenteeism of teachers for us is a big problem. This program is having its impact, and we hope that the quality of the education in primary sector, particularly the English, science and math teaching, that will improve. We have every year we collect the separate information about each and every school, number of students, number of teachers, their qualification. So this helps us in policy formulations and policy modifications. In secondary sector, we have every school has been given a school management software. We are trying to implement the school management software in about 8,000 to 9,000 schools. Apart from giving them the computers and the e-content for computer aided learning. And technical education, I will not go it because Professor Agarwal has already covered it. The new projects which we are proposing as far as education is concerned in coming 1 or 2 years are: one is the student tracking project, whereby we propose to track each and every student right from the stage he enters into the school, in the primary school, give him a unique identity number, track his nature, his areas of strength, where is he weak, where is he likely to do better, and hone those skills. And this information we propose to track right up to he leaves the school system, that is after 12th. Another is MDM tracking, biometric attendance system. This project is already going on in our tribal areas, and we hope to extend it next year for all the primary schools for tracking the students' attendance as well as teachers' attendance in rural areas. Secondary education, we want to have 3D multimedia content provided to each and every school, and also again the biometrics attendance. Technical education, Professor Agarwal has already covered it. Here are some of the websites which we operate. Apart from this, the presentation, friends, I have something to say since you are from the computer, particularly the e-learning aspect of the industry. The content which we have been getting for the computer aided learning, somehow we have not been satisfied with it. What we try to do is we try to make a uniform content and try to just modify it for the requirement of each and every state. Probably this is not working. What I have experienced in the field is we need to develop the content as per the localized condition. Probably it might have to go, you might have to go right up to the district level. You need to understand the local environment in which particularly the elementary education student who have no exposure to the outside world, they cannot relate themselves to something which is more relevant for the urban areas, probably something which you have prepared for Delhi or Chennai students. They relate themselves more with what is locally available to them, what they have locally seen in the villages, in their surroundings. My requirement as far as the e-content is, and I tell you, in the primary sector, the technology can play a much bigger role than what it is playing today. Helping the student learn the basics in maths, in languages. I have somehow a feeling that technology can do it better than what our teachers are doing. I am not saying that technology can be a substitute for the teachers. But for some time, till the time the quality of our teachers improve, till that time technology can come to our rescue. But it will only be possible if the content relates to the local conditions. It is the teachers understand them, and more importantly the students relate to it, to the environment. This so far that has not been possible. I would request you to focus on this aspect, localizing the content and developing the content based on the local elements and keeping the surroundings in mind. Thank you.